What is up, winning team? It is a bright and shining morning in the United Kingdoms, and my favorite combination of smells, burning fuel, and the fresh air. Welcome to 2026. Today, we're going to be talking, well, I've already been talking. Listen, I have extra time to actually talk today, so I'm getting everything off my chest. Like, while I feel like I have that energy of just say whatever you want to say and just upload it and then just forget, I'm going to do it. Anyhow, topic of conversation is let's talk about the devil for a minute, because I want us to think about him in context. You guys know we've been doing this whole series on, I thought I forgot my bag, like my little shopping bag, but I didn't. I put it in my pocket. We've been talking about the origins of evil, and I realized that the devil is actually the perfect depiction. Obviously, you would think. I actually think Jezebel and the devil in different ways, because Jezebel has a little bit more rights, because she was brought onto this earth as a result of the selfish decisions between created beings, i.e. The humans and the angels. So her life was forced upon her, and now she has to go through this. And that's how I feel about life as well, where she's like, oh, this is all forced on me. This is all forced. And heck, at least I've got the opportunity to go to heaven. At least I, have God. And I will say this, because it's important that I say this, because I don't think I say it enough. I truly believe that, as a parent, the most important thing you can do for your child is create an environment where they find God. Because my parents did that. That's why at the age of 7, I was already there, giving my life to the Lord. And that is something I will forever be grateful for them too. Because honestly, the phrase, you had one job. I feel like that's the one job. Because if you can do that, and if we as a society can create a world that teaches people that, then that's awesome. So I just want to add that while we're here. So for that, I'm truly grateful, because I've known the Lord for so long, that's why I don't really have a lot of the other issues a lot of other people have. Having said that, going back to what I was saying before. Hold on a minute. Sorry, I just saw these guys clearing away this wood, but I've never seen a machine like that. That is so cool. Some people are actually doing valuable work in this life, and I'm just here yapping away on the internet and working for the kingdom of darkness in the indoctrination camps, where we break people's spirits and their hope in having any destiny. But anyway, here's the scale, guys. I want to explain this, because there's a reason I'm going to get into this, because there's a lesson for us all in the importance of humility. Because I truly believe that the devil, right? Let's say that we all start, right? All of us created beings. We all start on a road where we're given two paths, right? One path leads to the tree of life, and the other path leads to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? Those are the pathways. And it's almost like whichever one you decide to consume is going to be the destiny of the path of which you're going on, right? Hence why we consume the blood and the body of Christ, because he's supposed to be like our bread and our wine. You know what I mean? We consume because we already consumed the fruit beforehand. I've even heard some biblical scholars suggest that the fruit was more likely to potentially be grapes than actually an apple. But nevertheless, not that important. And so, as with everything in life, the more that we consume of something, the more its impact has on us. And that's why, and this is why I think the lesson of the devil is so humbling, right? There's so many layers that are coming to my mind right now of this, what I'm trying to say. The more we consume the word of God, the more we consume spending time with him and his spirit, right? The more of the impact it has, hence why the Bible says you shall be transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? The more we consume of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, which is essentially us following our own wisdom, which is exactly what Satan did. And I realized that I really feel like, obviously from where he was at, it says in Luke 12:46, I think, to whom much is given, much is required. To whom they had trusted much, they will demand the more. It's like, because he was so high up with God, he had such a responsibility. He was the closest to actually, being able to do some of the greatest works for the kingdom, but he was also capable of doing some of the worst. And that's where, pride is the problem. And that's where pride is, because I've realized the more you consume the fruit, right, of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the more you trust in your own wisdom, the more you trust in the world systems or thinking you know what you're doing, the more you're walking in pride. And the further down that path you have to go, the further you have to go back. And the difficulty is, you can find yourself realizing, which I feel like every time I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm even further than I thought. Oh, is there somebody in the church? Because if there's somebody in this church, I might go and investigate. Please tell me there's somebody in the church. Hold on a minute. Sorry guys, I'm getting distracted. I'm also literally sweating and I've got my arms out wearing my One Piece t-shirt, right? I'm literally sweating, and the only reason I'm keeping my hood up, right, is I need to just be a little bit more incognito because people just seem to recognize me. It's so freaking annoying. Anyway, how can it be this hot? What the heck? Bro. Anyway, the more you go down the path, the longer the journey back. And I realized, I think this is what happens to people in life. You just kind of spiral, and you keep spiraling down the road. And then the ability to be able to come out of that becomes harder and harder, because you're like, oh, the more you face to the truth, the more you have to face. Like, because I get the feeling from the devil, of course he's evil and he wants to, because he's like the number one hater, right? He's actually kind of very much representative, in my opinion, dare I say, of the older generations, where it's like, well, I messed up and I have to pay for it. So we're going to let you mess up and you pay for it. We're just going to continue on these things, right? And I mean that when I say older generation, I mean the whole generations across the world. I'm not talking about in this country alone or in the West alone. I want to be very clear about that, because it's all the same problems in a different way across the board. Because I've been doing my research, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to start doing the comparisons because it's just not going to be helpful. And I know what people are like. They just want to nitpick at the one thing you said wrong, even if you... That's why I hate, by the way, being a human, being amongst humans. It's like, you could literally say 99% of something correctly, and people will pick out the one thing you mispronounced or you missaid or you missed whatever. It's just like, you know what? Try get 99% yourself. How about that? And that real life happened to me. I told you that. I'll never forget it. Because it's one of the most emotionally wounding memories I had with an adult when I was a kid. I've gone and got 97% in an exam and you're telling me that's not 100. In what world can you get 97% in a maths exam? And you want to critique me for not getting 100. Bearing in mind that equated to 1 mark, which I even knew which exact mark it was because I knew it was the last question and I was between 2 answers. Anyway, that's not the first time that happened. That happened to me again with the teacher that I had. Oh, I won't get into it. Anyway, when I was doing mechanics, they're like, you'll never be able to do mechanics. I don't think you should do it. And I was like, well, I don't want to do statistics, like the module. It's like, well, you can't do mechanics. I don't think you'll be able to do it. And anyways, you have to teach it to yourself because blah, 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 blah. Long story. I was like, well, I'm not doing statistics. I don't want to write. I went into mathematics and science because I don't like writing. I like equations and I like formulas, right? I don't want to be writing sentences and sentences about trends and all this stuff. I don't care. Anyways, it was one of the most powerful moments in my life. Because then we were in math class, right? This guy was like, in the lesson, he went to try and embarrass me in front of the entire class by marking my exam for that module in front of everybody. It's basically, it's like, if you don't do good enough in this, we're switching you back. I was like, cool. He goes to mark it in front of everybody, and I got one question wrong. And I was like, I put 17.5. It was supposed to be 18.5, wasn't it? He's like, yeah. Mate, can I tell you how exhilarating that was? And why has this been the story of my life as well? Can I just say that? Like, why is it that I'm always having to be... Anyway, we're going off the rails. And I would just like to add that mechanics was my favorite module in the end as well. Anywho, the deeper you go, the harder it is, because there's more uncomfortable truths about yourself that you have to acknowledge. And I truly believe that that's what it is. And I'll tell you how I came to this conclusion. So I was watching this show, right? I'm not going to say what it's called because I don't recommend people watch it. Listen, I do enough to wreak havoc and destruction and chaos in this world. If I can consciously know a way that I can potentially not add to the degeneracy of it all, then I will. And in this show, there's a character, right? It's a classic light versus dark, blah, 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 right? Which again, I'm just like, literally everybody's copying God. Everybody's just haters. They don't have the humility to give him credit. It's like so many stories are like that. And it's like, it's either the devil giving you a warped take that's to deceive you, or it's God giving an honest take to try to get a hold of you. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm trying to get a hold of you. This is where you are. You're watching TV. You're watching this. You're listening to music. I'm trying to find you. And in the show, there's a character who for me is like Jezebel. Exactly like that. She works for the darkness and she used to work for the light, but she changed over, and I can't remember why it started. But again, it's the classic, like when you start down on the wrong path, you don't start there and immediately find yourself in hell. You just keep taking another step in that direction, and then another step, 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 and then another step. And then by the time you've taken all these steps, right? This is why, not listening to God, not trusting in his wisdom and everything is very dangerous, because you won't realize, I'm so glad I decided to do this today. Because you guys, I have been going through it, but you know what? It's all good. Look, there's not too many people out. I can manage this. We can do it. And it's to a point where, like, I literally have to... I love this. It's to the point where I literally have to strategize, because everybody's just so out and about these days. Anyway, I can't believe that just happened. Just in the exact moment, I'm like, nobody's out and about. And this girl and I just walked out to the gym. I can't tell you the story just yet, but it's what I like. It's a Jezebel! It's a Jezebel! And it is so funny when these things happen, because it's like, oh, look how the mighty have fallen. Look how the mighty have fallen. The sways of the jury of the sheeple. Look at you. It's funny because I actually spoke with her as well, because she works at one of these stores that I go to sometimes, and I did the classic thing I do, because I love these situations. And I walked in there and I'm like, I see her and she's now acting shy. I was like, will you man be like this shy when you were swaying everybody's opinions before, and you had all the jury of the sheep on your head? You weren't being shy. Why are we shy now? So I walk in there and I'm like, oh my gosh, do I know you? Oh my gosh, you're so and so. How? And I just overwhelm them. This is what I do, because it messes with their psyche, because they know what they did. This is what I'm saying. People know what they did. And I just am at the point in my life where I don't care. I've been through so many things. I will just full send. I'm now going to mess with you in here. That's my thing. I'm not going to do this little battlefield. I'm not going to try and sway the Jews, because that ain't going to happen. I'm going to try and do anything that's going to be with the here. Right? Anyway, so this woman in this show, she switches to the dark, and she's now like the most powerful one of all the dark ones. They're called the Forsaken, right? It's quite funny. And she swaps over, I can't remember for what reason, but pretty much there's this prophecy of like the Messiah equivalent. We'll just call it the Messiah, right? For the sake of understanding. And she falls in love with his last vessel, because like I've said to you guys before, I do believe that the demons, they're just around and then they just take over the next generation of whoever decides to turn there, and then take over the next generation, unless you're in the kingdom of heaven, of course, which is the same Holy Spirit, but it's a similar concept. So she's like oh, there's nothing more satisfying than somebody being more uncomfortable to see you than you are to see them. And so what was I even saying? Yeah, so she's a Forsaken, and she falls in love with this Messiah guy, right? And she's convinced that she can convince him to get with her. Oh, for goodness sake. I forget.
It's Valentine's Day coming up, and there's freaking Easter coming up.
And just other ways to overconsume and all pretend that everything's a lot better than what it actually is. Yay, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I love it here. I love being human. I love being alive. Literally the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm so sorry. This is why I shouldn't do this. The things that people make astound me. In a world where we're all
Save the planet, save the this.
I present to you now. I appreciate the pun. Prosecco. Prosecco love for the dog. Awesome. So, you know what? Amazing. All these random things here. So good. Let's look at this one. Now, this is kind of cute. We are eternally grateful for you. Aww. Like, what is all this stuff? Like, I'm really genuinely wondering, like, every season, I think because I made a concise effort to remove as much of my belongings that I didn't need as possible. And now I just have seen no desire to like over-consume. Like, as long as I've got what I need, listen, I'd rather spend my money on traveling and on my business ideas and like, you know. So this stuff is just really strange to me that like, because like every year we're buying all these things. At a certain point, but hey, shout out to the businesses. What I should do, right? So I think to myself all the time, rather than complain, right? As I like to say, play them at their own game. I just need to start my own product, something that people will just spend stupid money on for no good reason. Ideally, a collectible that comes out seasonal, that people are going to want to have just for the sake of it. And then just send it to a bunch of people. You guys, this man just walked past me and that smells amazing. Oh my gosh. I'm just going to stop him just to ask him what he was wearing. Yeah, so in the show, she decides, I love how I just be taking you guys out like I'm literally on the phone call with my friends, because this is what we're like, because we're all always doing stuff. So sitting there and just talking is never going to happen. Everybody's on the go in the car and the wherever's cooking, cleaning, working. She falls in love with this Messiah dude, but he doesn't reciprocate the love, right? Really. But she convinces herself that he is going to love her. So she starts to do everything. Like, she's confused. This is what I'm saying. This is exactly what we're like as humans. She's confused. She's doing everything for the sake of this love, right? But at the same time, she's working for the darkness. And the funny thing in the show, actually, let's not get into that detail. And so when he comes back as his next vessel, she now immediately falls in love and starts showing up in this guy's dreams, which is, again, I just think is masterful work. Because I say to you guys all the time, it's like they're two different battlefields. And she always catches him off guard in his dreams because she knows where to find him. And obviously, the way they got to know each other is while he was figuring out his destiny. She came and she started flirting with him and got in bed with him, all this. And this is what I was like, listen, Jezebel uses sex as a tactic. Not because of like it's purely tactics. right? Because it's like, it's the easiest way to disarm a man, let's be honest. So that's why I say she works with the spirit of lust. She isn't lustful herself, because she has an agenda always, and she's more concerned with the agenda, because just like the devil, they hate us. So why people think Jezebel's just out here enjoying it, I don't know where people get that idea from. She's out here for the job, which low-key I kind of respect. I know I shouldn't say that. Sorry, I'm looking at this okra because, oh, I like it. I might get some, actually. What was I going to cook the other day? I low-key might actually get some. And you know where I should go? The new market by where I live. Oh, yeah. Well, anyway. Hold on. This video is so disjointed and my brain is all over the place. But this is why I need to record, because I have so much to say that now I can't say anything because my brain's just going because it's just got so much in there. Anyway, she's convinced that she can make him fall in love, which she can't, because he was already in love with somebody else. And this woman is of the light and she has his best interest at heart. I'm going somewhere with all of this. So she is fighting, because basically she is fighting for his success, and he thinks he can never be with her because if he ends up with her because of his powers, he's probably likely to hurt the people that he loves, which is why he separates himself from her, which is why he ends up with this Jezebel character, right? And so then this Jezebel character is trying to do everything because she wants him to succeed in his mission, but kind of for herself, and also just because she wants to have him as well. And it's kind of that weird thing where she actually wants him, but she also really just wants to control him. And I think he kind of realizes that. Because that's a lot of the time the thing with these Jezebelic type of women when it comes to men, right? This is why I just stay away from everybody. I don't defend myself. I don't start going to say things to guys. Like, even this girl who I just saw, right? That was exactly what happened. She was another one that I've not even mentioned. Who went and swayed a bunch, like we were in a big group of friends. Then she went and swayed everybody with just saying whatever the hell she was saying. And I was just like, respectfully, this is just not a game I'm going to play. If they're going to take your side, if they're going to listen to you, that's their business. I'm not going to defend myself because I know you're only in this for you. And like, they're just not going to be smart enough to realize what's happening here. But thank goodness this guy in the show, he did. So now, as soon as she didn't get what she wanted, and this is what takes me to where I'm at now about why people believe people choose evil. Once he says to her, like, he basically severs the whole relationship. He's like, listen, no matter what happens, I'm never choosing you. I don't care if the other woman doesn't want me. Like, it's never going to be you. Because she would always be like, I see you for who you really are. You know what I mean? Trying to, like, get him to embrace his dark side, because he has both a dark and a light side. And the worry for the light team is that he'll give it up to the dark team, because every time this Messiah comes along, if they let the dark side win, then the dark side wins for the next whole season of just living, which could be hundreds of years, 1,000 years, right? Which I believe, again, is very similar to where we're at now and why the kingdoms always need a vessel. And he's like, whatever happens, I'm not interested in you. It's not going to happen. Because she wants to, like, she's trying to get the darkness out of him so they can be there. And I feel like part of the reason she's doing that, right? This is, again, something I think of the world. She's doing it because she's like, her getting him to embrace the darkness validates her decision to choose the darkness also. Him choosing the light was her being confronted with the truth that she wasn't prepared for, which is that it's not worth it. And so then when he did what he did, rather than humbling herself and realizing, because he tried to say, you can turn away, like, you don't have to do this, right? So she's like, oh, you're still trying to recruit me. And I thought, is that really your response? Like, he actually wants to, like, he's seen everything you've done. So we're one of the only people that would even be forgiving towards you, because we live in a very unforgiving world. And your response is to laugh. And the reason why she's doing that is because she's so far down the road. She's so deep in pride. She's done so much wrong that now it's just easier for her to stay in the evil department. And this is why I fear pride myself, because I'm like, oh, because in order to do the work to get out, I mean, I'm doing the work just to get closer to the Lord, right? And it's just like, the truth is about myself and about the world only get darker and more difficult to stomach. You know what I mean? And then that also does at the same time make me think, like, well, then I need to do it sooner. I need to just humble myself. I have to just embrace all this uncomfortability, because if that's actually the situation, then the longer I delay, the worse things are going to get. I need to just accept. I need to just yield, no matter what the cost, no matter having to realize I can't just have the things I want the way I wanted them, or that I made the wrong decision. And that's what I believe is the truth about the devil as well, is what I'm saying, is that I feel like he got himself down a road, and he just keeps going further, and he just keeps trying to take people further down there, because he has to live with the fact that that's what he did. And he can't wrestle against that. And I think that's why people choose evil, and that's why the world is so quick to defend evil things. Because it's easier. Hold up. It's easier for us to just go, this is just what the world is. This is just how it is. This is just Hollywood. This is just tradition. This is just religion, right? Even when there's clear corruption, even when there's clear problems. Okay, it's a bit loud here. We have to make all these excuses, right? Because if we don't, that means we have to address what we don't want to. And the fact is, we don't want to. So instead of doing that, we have to find something else to blame. That's why I feel like it's always a negative, like even for now, like every new generation, it happens every generation, again, because we do refuse to learn that we have issues with the younger generation adapting or doing better or doing whatever. Because if we acknowledge that they are, then it's like confronting the fact that you are the one who needs to humble yourself. And I see this with the kids a lot, where like some of the things that they do amongst themselves, I'm like, honestly, in some ways, they're more mature than I am. They're more humble and disciplined, because they've grown up in a time where you do the work, you talk about the problems, you don't just let things fester and ignore them, you don't just sweep things under the carpet for the sake of somebody else's pride. Like, you address people head on, you address things head on. And obviously I'm a part of that as well, but they're a part of that in a deeper way. So when I talk to, say, like teenagers of today, I'm like, wow, you guys are doing better than us. You're doing better than the people I know. You know what I mean? And I'm so proud for them. And that's what I've realized, that this is what we do. This is exactly why people do things the way that they do. It's like the further you get closer to God, and the further you get, oh my gosh. Twister has a new ice cream. Twisters are my favorite, guys. I told you this before. This is my favorite ice lolly. Okay, this one right here. The Twister. Twisters, get you a Twister. And it has to be those ones, the red and green one with the pineapple and strawberry. Oh, so good. So good. That's kind of crazy. Anyway, and that's why. This is why people choose evil. That's basically the conclusion I came to. This is why people are choosing evil, because the choosing good is just so damn hard. And the further away you walk down the path, the harder it is to walk back, the more humbling it is, and honestly humiliating. Because for a lot of people, you know, like, it's like you're unraveling a web that has grown for decades. It's the same thing, like I say, about working with kids. A lot of their issues, a lot of their struggles are in very preliminary stages. So if you upset a child and you immediately apologize, chances are they don't remember, because you apologize to them. It didn't have very long to settle anyway, and they move on. You know what I mean? They can move on. It's just like, oh, okay, that happened. That was upsetting, but whatever. But when you don't do those kinds of things and you let it fester for years and years and years and years, right? Then that small thing that could have just been dealt with at the beginning, similar to if you go on a pathway. I think about this myself when I want to go out and about, because I like to go out and about. You guys know that. And at the moment, one of the main reasons I haven't been doing that as much is because I haven't been feeling amazing. And I'm like, what if I go out so far that I don't have what it is? I don't have enough in me to come back. As dark as that might sound, right? But it's the reality. And I feel like with the kids, you know, I feel like with adults, it's the same thing. It's like the further you go, the longer the journey is back, or at least feels or is perceived. And I feel like there's this reset button in our heads where it's like, instead of just accepting it, humbling ourselves, we just double down like this woman did. Because as soon as she did, this Jezebel woman, As soon as he said what he said, and she could see that, oh, he's serious this time, like he's not coming back. Then she decides, she's like, oh, fine. And she decides to just switch up into her witchy state. She's decided she wants to kill him. So the man she was literally doing everything for, like, even still, she can't humble herself to, like, acknowledge the fact that, I know, guys, I can't watch or see anything without taking away as much out of it, because I just don't like to waste time, and I think art imitates life. And she allowed it to, like, overwhelm her, because he even gave her an out, just like how God did to the devil. Like, you don't have to do this. Like, you can just take a few steps back. And instead he chose the knowledge of good and evil, which again makes sense why he's able to control things like, the entertainment industry, or, science is a perfect example, because with science they think, everything's about, competing with God. Oh, God can't do this, even God can't. I'm like, why are you talking about somebody so much you don't like? Because I've always had that same thought myself, like with other people with me. I'm like, I'm not out here talking about you. I'm not even thinking about you. So why, if you don't like me or whatever, why is my name in your mouth so much? Make that make sense. Make that make sense, because that's the part that's not making sense right now. And I honestly feel like with God and with pride, that's a similar thing. And that's why people just double down on their pride. They're not able to and they double down on the evil work. Because it's kind of like, well, we're in it now. We're in it now, so we might as well just accept that we're in it. Because what it's going to take to get out, I don't know that I have the humility, because you might now need to say, hey, I need help. You know what I mean? It's hard to ask for help. This is what I love about kids, how God tells us to have childlike faith, and there's so much beauty in being a child. Because kids, they haven't been conditioned, right? Like how we all are, to like self-preservation. If a kid has hurt themselves, they'll immediately run to you for help to fix it. Immediately. You know what I mean? They won't hesitate to even expect and be comfortable with receiving the maximum amount of help they can get, and expressing the level of distress that they're in. But when it comes to us as, adults and stuff, we then can't do those things. We lack the humility, because it's like we don't want to be seen to not knowing. Everyone wants to act like, adulting. I told you I don't identify with an adult anymore. The older I get, the more I'm like, I'm not an adult. And then it's funny, because they now have this thing that's like, scientists are now saying that actually the full adult age is 32. And I'm like, bro, first of all, I'm getting sick of this. See what I'm saying? Science is not even trustworthy. It's always changing. It's always moving. It's always recorrecting itself because it's not perfect, and it doesn't have the humility to just say, you know what, we don't know, and we just need to trust God. But that ain't going to happen. So instead, it's just, we made the next discovery. We're going to become obsessed and consumed in our pride. You're going to die having not even known everything, because you couldn't humble yourself to just accept. That's so pathetic. And that's like what this is going to happen to this lady, unfortunately, because obviously she's made herself the enemy of this Messiah dude and whatever. And they're actually, unlike the world, they're actually got a disunity in their camp in the kingdom of darkness. So they're all going to be coming for her. And she's going to just die a sad death, just like Moses' generation in the wilderness, like never having reached anything meaningful, Because I feel like overcoming your demons, being able to humble yourself and become a better version of yourself, like being able to actually address the tough things, is one of the bravest things you can actually do, because it's so uncommon. We're so used to in the world pointing the finger and expecting somebody else to do the job or somebody else to take accountability. And it's so brave in this day and age, I think, to actually have the ability to say, you know what? I was wrong. And it's so healing for the people doing it when you do it, because like you don't have to live with that, because that's the other thing. I feel like part of the thing that keeps you going down the hill, because I was thinking, who probably lives in the worst type of mental torture is probably the devil himself, because it's like he's on the one hand, he's frustrated that God is giving us all these chances. On the other hand, he's hating himself, knowing that he's the one who got himself where he is. He used that same free will that we're using, right? He's the same free will he used to do what he's doing. So as much as he has to say about us, like, he also can't really say very much because he's the originator. Maybe if he hadn't been so convincing, to the other angels, maybe if he hadn't done what he did, maybe we all wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? So he can't even really laugh at us in any way or point the finger, because it's like, bro, you the OG. And I honestly think that thought alone probably ruins his life. Like, I know that sounds extreme, but I genuinely believe that probably ruins his life. And it probably is the reason why he then doubles down on us, right? Rather than, because God is just here, like, I know God's forgiving, because usually when I go to apologize to God, he's like, look, as long as I'm being sincere, he's like, it's okay. It's not my first rodeo with you people. I'm not happy about it, but I appreciate that you're trying, and I can work with somebody that's trying. You know what I mean? I can work with somebody that's at least trying. And again, it's like similar to what I do in my job. I'm like, I just have to get them to convince them that to give it a try. Whatever I'm saying, just give it a try. No one's saying you have to be perfect. No one's saying you have to get it right. Just try. If you can try it, I can work with that. And that's where pride prevents you from trying, because then you can't humble yourself to actually get the help that you need. And so then you double down. Anyway, I'm going to wrap that up here for now. But I think that's one of the main reasons people choose evil in this world, is they just become so down the road. And obviously the devil convinces you that, oh, you sold your soul. It's like, is your soul even for purchase? It's more like he's leased it. It's more like he's convinced you to just walk that path for as long as you possibly can, so that you just keep walking into death. But in reality, God is like, hey, I gave you guys the option. I gave you the option. You have the option in every moment. And that's why I know that it's pride, because I think every day that I wake up, like today included, I'm miserable. I hate everything. I don't want to be here, right? I'm so upset. Genuinely, I'm not even joking. But you know what? It's crazy. This same day that I wake up and I choose faith is the same day somebody else wakes up and they choose pride. This same day that I wake up and I say, you know what? I'm just going to pour my heart out on YouTube. I'm just going to try and do whatever it takes to get me from today to tomorrow. People are going to wake up and choose to wreak havoc. People are waking up looking forward to go and terrorize and dominate because they want to feel something, because they've got nothing to be proud of within themselves. People are waking up comfortably. Like, I was looking at these politicians, like, how do you really wake up in the morning, actually look at yourself in the mirror, to be such a fraud? Anyway, I'm going to go because we've got so much more to come. I've got so much to say, if you couldn't tell. Anyway, if life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.